This video falls under fair use. Fair use allows commentary, criticism, and reactions. What's up, back with another one. So today I'm going to show you this clip of Marcellus Wiley breaking down Molly's exit situation.
Report comes out the next morning, instead of Molly showing up to work, she puts out an Instagram post. And in that Instagram post, you guys remember, one thing she didn't mention was anybody by name, including Stephen A. Smith. Now, I've left a show or two before, and trust me, you're going to name some names when you leave that. Just think about Shannon Sharpe when he left Undisputed. Goodness, it took about 10 minutes of all the names he dropped. That's my point. Molly didn't do that. So that lets you know already there's some friction behind the scenes. Okay, so they're reporting that it's supposed to be the end of the year. Molly, by action, says it's right now. Instead of I'm leaving now, I'm leaving right now. She made it immediate. And then Stephen A. Smith makes the statement. Now, interesting once again, see, peep all these differences, right? These contradictions in terms of how they usually move and how they're moving with Molly. Max Kellerman left. Stephen A. Smith didn't even show up for the last day. Remember that? Interesting. And we all know that typically they don't talk about talent when they're gone. They just say, thank you for your services, and we wish you well. This is a little different for many reasons. So when they're trying to paint it, it looks a lot different. Here we go. This is what's going on behind the scenes on the real. Molly was going through a contract negotiation, obviously, and that was not going well, obviously, because Molly wasn't getting what she wanted. What did Molly want? Molly wanted to do other things at the network, which included hosting her own show, kind of the Max Kellerman plan. I'll leave First Take, that's fine. Y'all got other shows out here, or we could create a show, whatever it may be. Let me land on my feet within the network, still be at the worldwide leader, and do my thing. Now, that wasn't happening. They weren't signing off on her not only hosting another show, but doing other shows within the network. So what happened was offers for her to stay there. Now, reportedly, she's making like around $500,000 a year. Now, contrast that to $20 million a year for Stephen A. Smith, and he's number one on the show and you number two on the show, you can feel a certain type of way. But hey, you got to only eat what you can. And they didn't feel that she was killing it to the point where they would make her a better offer. And when I say we, I'm not just talking about Burke Magnus. I'm not just talking about all the other bosses that Stephen A. Smith mentions. I'm talking about Stephen A. Smith as well. Because remember, he's an executive producer on that show. And as he will always remind you, that's his show. Think about it. So Molly wants more money to stay on that show. If I'm going to stay, you're going to have to pay me for my suffering. Or give me what I want. Give me some more and let me go do more. They balked at both. So now, what else is going on behind the scenes? The relationship with Stephen A. Smith, one of the worst kept secrets in the business, is that they have a good relationship. They don't, right? They kind of tired on each other, et cetera. I'm not going to go into all the messy details, but the point is they weren't cool with each other to the point someone you work with for 10 years, you don't even mention them when you're gone. And you don't even give them that, like, partner heads up on air, like, hey, we did this thing together, this thing is over, right? So that lets you know the business was ugly behind the scenes to the point, and the personal relationship, that I won't even give you that grace. I won't even give you that out. Now think about this. That relationship allows him to know information that others don't, and have influence that others don't. How much you can get paid. You can get the money if I sign off on it, or you can get what you want if I sign off on it. But the thing is, he didn't. How did he know so much about Shannon's situation? And as soon as Shannon went through that fire, he was the first one on air saying, come on, man, and talking on both sides because of the bosses, because he was in that meeting. He was in that meeting knowing what the fate of Shannon Sharpe was months before Shannon Sharpe knew, months before the world knew. That's my point. So he runs with the bosses. And the last point that I wanted to make is, one of the bosses in particular, everyone knows in the industry who that person is, but no need to out him. The point is, that person, along with Stephen A. Smith, ain't seeing the talent, not seeing the love for Molly Qerim. And she knew this. So when that report comes out, I guess it triggers her, or more importantly, she's like, why am I sitting in a situation that I know won't get better? Think about it. You too. Beat it up in the comments. Tell me your thoughts about it. But when you know you need to do something and you know it's best for you, what you waiting for? I think Molly woke up that morning, Tuesday morning, and said, what am I waiting for? So we see a situation. Think about if you're Molly, you're working at a network where Mina Kimes is making way more money than you, and Mina Kimes is the number what on what show, right? You're number 2 on the number 1 show, and she is what on what shows, right? So your point is like, and, you know, you see Malika Andrews, all that. That's a different lane. That's a whole different animal, different beast. But the point is she's seeing not only people getting paid and none of them really on the number 1 show. Think about it. Malika's show, always struggling in terms of who's going to be on there. Oh, the cast is not it. Oh, they haven't got their traction yet, but she getting paid. Mina Kimes, a lot of people criticizing her. At the same time, she getting paid. And then you, Molly, I'm number 2 on the number 1 show we got. And I can't get none. That's what was going on behind the scenes. So Molly finally woke up, said, fed up, enough is enough.
Let me just jump in real quick. The way Marcellus lays this out really sheds light on what may have gone on behind the scenes. It's not just about work tension. It's the idea that someone could allegedly be pushed out by being undervalued, especially when it comes to salary. That puts the situation in a whole new light.
Plenty of people throughout ESPN's history I have helped get theirs. And anybody who would challenge what the I just said to you on national television, they better beware. They better not utter that publicly. Because I can tell you, and I didn't say one. I said many. And by the way, Cam Newton, while you're doing that, you can ask the bosses themselves. Plenty of times, spanning my 20 plus years here. Look at the roster. Look at the people here. Look at the diversity on the air. Oh, trust me, I will proudly stand up on a banner and say, I got a little something to do with that, because there's plenty of people that I have fought for over the years. That has never, ever changed. To answer that question directly.
I'm probably one of those. So shout out to Stephen A for that, so I appreciate it. No, so back to that.
You ain't the only one on the screen.
No.
What's up? So what are my thoughts about this? Here's the thing. When someone like Marcellus speaks on behind-the-scenes dynamics, it grabs attention because he's been in the industry and knows how the business works. In this case, the situation with Molly allegedly goes beyond just creative or personality differences. What stood out in the clip is the idea that there may have been tension with Stephen A, and that the network possibly offered Molly a salary so low, it was almost like they expected her to walk away. Now, that's something we've heard happens in a lot of workplaces, not just TV. It's a quiet way to push someone out without publicly firing them. If that's what really happened, it opens up a much bigger conversation about how women, and especially women in high-profile media roles, are treated when power dynamics come into play. The fact that Molly had been on that show for years and was still reportedly offered a figure that felt disrespectful to her value is something that sticks with viewers. It also makes people wonder what the internal relationships were really like, especially if Stephen A wasn't fully supportive. Again, these are alleged details, but if true, they paint a picture of someone being pushed to a breaking point, not by one event, but by a series of quiet moves. Marcellus didn't sound bitter, just honest, and sometimes that's all it takes to bring a situation into clearer focus. Okay, so drop a comment, smash that like button, and make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next video.